The NFL's proposed rule changes for the year. Nothing too crazy, most of them we expected. The XFL kickoff rule, that's number one on the list. Hip drop tackles is honestly right there with it, and a couple of reviewable play options. All of which aren't anything too crazy. We all knew the hip drop tackle was going to be a thing that was brought up, and same with the XFL rule. It's been gaining a little bit more momentum. Before we dive into it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get this channel going. We had a really good week last week of free agency, and we want to keep the ball rolling on it. Thank you all for subscribing. Hope you enjoyed the video. So the biggest thing in this is the hip drop tackle. Obviously, safety is number one concern of the league. Less injuries, less stars going out, more viewership, better teams, better playing. Issue to me with the hip drop tackle is you're taking away another tackle form. It's a league where it's physical. You take that ability to do another tackle away, it's just more and more turning into a penalty league of just every tackle is questioned, every, sack is questioned, roughing the passer calls that get debated in the media every single week. Then if this gets passed, now we're going to see, was that a hip drop tackle? What was he supposed to do in that situation? We shouldn't have lost this game. The refs called the game because they called that hip drop tackle. It is an issue that's going to happen if this gets passed. I think it is close to passing. I think it's very realistic that it does. And if it does, it just questions, what's the next tackle that's going to get banned, or what's the next tactic that's going to get banned. It's a very interesting point because it just seems like more and more the league's going less physical and more to the route of, hey, we don't want to see this crazy stuff. We want to just play a safe game, keep you guys. And I get it. Player safety is number one. But at some point, you have to say it's just the name of the game. It's the NFL. It's football. It's a physical sport. It's going to happen. So with that rule, it's very curious to see on if it goes through. We'll see next week with it. The XFL kickoff rule, it's a big change. I won't go into how it lines up because honestly, I'm still confused by it, and most people probably will be at first if it passes, even coaches. I mean, obviously they're doing their research on it. They're drawing up plays to see how it would work in order to vote yes or no on this. It takes 75% of the ownership to vote on it. It's an interesting talking point because, again, it goes into the safety of it where, it's supposedly safer as a kickoff compared to what it is now. I did watch some videos on it. I watched Pat's video on it, explaining a little bit more. It makes sense. The point is to allow less touchbacks to make it more entertaining. Because like Pat said in his video, most people, when kickoff happens, don't watch the kickoff because it's just not that entertaining of a thing. I love seeing a 99-yard return, and I want to see more of them. I want to see more options where they get more yardage out of it. It just makes it more entertaining to watch someone run the ball back than have a touchback. And I think the XFL was 90% were returned and only 10% were technically touchbacks. I think the way it works is that's because the kicker didn't do his job right, not on the receiver. But there's a lot of different things in that. It's a big change, and that's why I don't think it will pass this year, but I think it's getting more consideration every year to see a major change in the way we do kickoffs. The one big thing that I'm not a fan of in it is it eliminates the sneaky onside kick. It's trying to make it where you would have to alert the official that it's an onside kick, meaning that the other team, I'm assuming, would have the option to shift into an onside kick recovery formation. I do like once in a while when it's just an onside kick and it takes them by surprise, and maybe it works. It's very unlikely, but I love onside kicks. I mean, I think it's a huge part of the game. I also would love to see where it's like a 4th and 25 scenario. Hey, you want to go for it? If you make this 4th and 25, you get the ball back. But that's another major change, and don't think it will go through. The final big rule is reviewable plays on if before the snap was taken, the time clock was out. That's one that's just a reviewable play. It can go in your benefit. You can lose it. It's a challenge. Obviously, if you lose it, same rules apply. But the biggest thing is if you're in the AFC Championship game and you think that the QB didn't get the ball off before the time clock expired, that may be a huge momentum change in the game and could stop that drive right then and there. That is a big review, and I'm not opposed to it because it's just a review. It might delay the game, make it a little bit longer, but it could be something that we see teams do more often because you really rely on the officials in that one. So why not just let it be reviewable? The other one is if the passer was out of bounds or he was down before getting the ball out. That's a reviewable call now too, if this goes through. Another one where, again, it doesn't really affect the everyday game. It's just once in a while you may see the review for it. And same thing. It's all just there to maybe make it so you get that extra chance as a challenge to change the tide of the game and shift momentum into your favor. The last little rule, there's an expanded rule against crackback blocks. That one I don't know too much on. I've never heard that term. I'm not in that detail with it. I wish I knew more, but it is being possibly expanded, so you know. The other one is to allow teams to use the practice squad QB as a third QB. This rule has kind of gone in every year as a proposition ever since COVID, when I think the Broncos had to use a wide receiver as their QB because they did not have another backup QB on the active roster. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it should be passed. It's just so we don't have to watch a wide receiver be trash at QB or just turn into a run game. It makes it so you have the opportunity to keep in the game with a third QB. Next week, they vote on it. We'll see what goes through. We'll make a video on it. But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and give us your thoughts on what you think of the rule changes. Thanks for watching.